Okay, so this is the EY 4076 CBA 1 for Stephen Kennedy 18242782. So the topic I chose for my CBA is bench work versus machine manufacturing in secondary schools. So first of all, I went and I analysed and I researched bench work. So I broke this down into headings of sawing, marking, threading and filing. I then broke this down into smaller subheadings. So for example, in the marking section, I broke it down into marking curves, scribing and dot punching. Under each subheading, I just wanted to provide a little bit of information. So for example, under the coping saw, I put the coping saw is used for making cuts inside of a piece of material. The blade is inserted up through the material and reattached to the saw to begin the cut. So for the machine manufacturing, I did the same thing. I broke it down into lathe work, milling work and pillar drill work. So for example, the lathe work, I broke it down into facing, turning, taper turning, drilling and parting. So for the drilling section, I put the static drill bit is brought towards the rotating piece and slowly moved into the hole of its making to a depth required. Then I moved on to the engineering principles. So for the bench work, 1.9, demonstrate high quality work to include accuracy in the surface finish, and I just included a little bit of information under these. So I said the bench area is where the manufacturing process ultimately finishes with the polishing and final touches. So I did the same thing for the machine manufacturing. So 2.1, to understand the key stages of the engineering design process. And for this I said to be able to operate one of these machines, a basic understanding of the associated processes is needed. For health and safety reasons also, this understanding is a must. So my findings then. So I broke it down into advantages and disadvantages. So for the bench work advantages, I have bench work helps students to develop and improve their skills within the lab. And then an example of a disadvantage for the machine manufacturing is there's a large danger with regard to health and safety when not used correctly. So then I moved on to the communication of my findings. So what I noticed most from this control-based assessment is that when I started out, I was looking at bench work versus machine manufacturing. But I came to realise that they work very well together and you can't really have one without the other. So on the right hand side here, just near the end, I said this shows clearly that maybe it is not a case of one method versus the other, but in fact the relationship between the two. So the main finding of my control-based assessment was that to manufacture a successful product for junior cert metalwork class, you're going to need both your machine manufacturing and your bench work. Thank you.